Oh wait, no, hang on, that's not his theme song. Spider-Man of the future. La la. There'll probably be some dubstep. I don't have time. Anyway, hi everybody. Welcome back to another action figure review. Bit of a surprise one. Totally forgot that I pre-ordered this earlier this year, and Kapow Toys sent it out this week. So we have another figure in the Marvel Legends retro style wave that is loosely based off of the 90s animated Spider-Man show. I've reviewed a couple figures from this wave here on this channel. Got the Gwen Stacy, got the J. Jonah Jameson, got the Green Goblin, got the Mysterio, and got the Kingpin. I also, of course, have Spider-Man himself, but this is Miguel O'Hara, not Peter Parker, the Spider-Man of 2099, with a really nice illustration on the cover. That's pretty sweet. This is my first ever Spider-Man 2099 6-inch figure. I have had a 3 and 3.75 inch scale one in the Marvel Universe wave, but I've never had one of these bad boys in this scale before. Let's take a quick peek at the packaging. Another look at that beautiful picture. It is very pretty. There's a great vibe to it. I don't know. I don't recall. I know they're sort of breaking the mold with these figures quite a bit. I don't recall if he ever appeared in the animated series of the 90s. I don't think he did. But that's a very cool design based on the packaging design from that era. His accessories, of course, are spare hands. When a lab accident causes half his DNA to be rewritten with a spider's genetic code, geneticist Miguel O'Hara becomes Spider-Man. With his organic web spinnerets in his wrists, his paralysing fangs, and his little computer chum Lila, who is not included in this. That would have been quite cool, actually. Like if you had like a little attachment so you could see the projection of her coming out of his wrist. But whatever, I'm not complaining. It's my first Miguel O'Hara. Without further ado, let's get him open and have a little look. First thing you might notice is Miguel is a scrawny boy compared to Peter Parker. The Spider-Man figure in this line is a little bit more kind of, you know, modern day Spidey, a little bit bulkier because he's in his 20s sort of vibe, like he's not a scrawny teenager anymore. To me, Miguel O'Hara's always had a similar physique in the comics, just from my memory, but they've gone for a scrawnier one here. In fact, I wouldn't be surprised if this was just, from what I can remember of it, an upscale of the Marvel Universe version. I mean, obviously this one's got a couple more points of articulation, but that's my theory. I remember there wasn't many thigh swivels on the Marvel Universe 3.75 inch line, and this Miguel has those. But I had to be very careful. I had to crack paint very gently along the seam because it was painted the heck over. So, yeah, it's not the same body as the Spider-Man, as the Peter Parker Spider-Man, who is having his body reused for the Ben Reilly figure in the upcoming wave of these. But articulation is as such. We have got the bend and swivel at the ankle, very stiff on mine, be careful. Knees are double jointed. He's having a crouch here because he can't seem to straighten his feet out enough to stand up straight. Swivel at the top of the thighs, crotch is your standard. He has a waist swivel, unlike the Spidey, which lends for more dynamic poses, I guess, for this iteration. His rib crunch is not that flexible. Well, you don't get much movement. But, you know, it's nice to have the option. He has the infamous Spider-Man kind of flexy shoulders, but again, quite stiff. Nice paint, though, for the spider pattern on his front. It doesn't seem like the joints don't seem to take too much away from it because it just looks really nice. Shoulder is your ball joint, but it's not very flexy. He's got the upper arm articulation, double elbow joint, and the wrists pivot and swivel. Incredibly notable, his tiny head. He has a really small head. Again, just to compare him to Spider-Man, which, you know, probably shouldn't be doing, but Spider-Man's got a bigger head. Miguel's is... It is tiny, man. It is really, really small, and it makes me think that if custom figure collectors and makers get hold of him and like customize a Peter Parker or a old movie 2014 Star-Lord head or something to create a Miguel, it's going to look really big on him suddenly because his head's really tiny. But the crinkle of the mask is nice. And again, the paint overall, there's a couple of tiny bleeds, like on this hand here. There's a little bleb somewhere on the side. But the paint overall is really nice. And I like the shine on him. Miguel comes with a couple of accessories, namely spare hands. He's got big old claw hands, which is right, because he's got sharp, razor-sharp talon gloves to claw at his enemies. So those are the ones he'll probably be posed with. He's got, for those who are a bit more adventurous or spider-posy, some Spider-Man sort of signature crawl hands. So you have him balancing a little bit. And he comes with his webs. Now, it's a bit of a missed opportunity, I think, to not include a second one of these that's a bit more spread out. So when you've got him leaping, it's kind of trailing behind him. Because as it stands, it's sculpted in the neutral position that the webs on his costume's back come in, which is just sort of like a cape from the mid-shoulder. Which, again, still looks pretty cool. You know? But I kind of wish they'd given you two versions of it, one that was a bit more splayed or flowing or something. Either way, I'm quite happy with this. It's sort of what I expected it to be. It's a straightforward, simple figure, nothing too complex or complicated about him. It's the Spider-Man of 2099, and I'm happy to add him to my collection. He'll go up with other alternate universe Spider-Folks that I've got, like Spider-Gwen, Miles Morales. So I'm looking forward to adding him to the collection. But what do you think? Do you like this figure? The Spider-Man of 2099? Do you think it could have been a little bit more dynamic? Do you think it's just the right amount of simple, just the right amount of fun? Let me know in the comments below. If you want to pick up a figure that's on my Amazon wishlist for me to review, and you don't mind doing that, you'll get a shout out in the video. The link is in the description below. No obligation, of course. I buy figures all the time and review them all the time whenever I get hold of them. I will catch you soon for another figure review. Ta-ra!